Hi, this is Mary Kay. Today we are going to be painting calla lilies. I'm going to do a different video on how to sketch it yourself, but this is a sketch that I did from this calla lily here. I'm going to leave it right there. So after we get the sketch done, the first thing we're going to do is paint the background. So we're going to wet the background. Now I sketched this with regular old graphite from a pencil. So these lines are not going to disappear. That's okay. If we put this in a show, we need to put that it's graphite and watercolor, which is just fine to do. The masters have been sketching with graphite forever, so it's a good thing. I'm leaving the calla lily dry and wetting the background. A couple composition things is that the stem is not coming straight up and down, and it's not going out the corner. So somewhere that's not the middle and not the corner. And then the other thing to notice is that the stamen here is in a direct line with the stem, and then the flower goes around. So right in here is just a tricky little part of my painting because it's wrapped up behind it. So I really had to tilt it to the side to get that little twisty thing. So that was the hard part of mine to sketch. So we're going to use some different colors in the background today, and we're not going to try to paint leaves. We're just painting a loose background. I'm going to try and use some Winsor green or My Mary Blue green blue, something with PG 8. So it's a very man-made color, really. Nothing in nature looks like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dull it down with permanent rose and make this, look what it does. It makes this like beautiful bluish, I don't know, color. And that I'm going to make some of this a little bit greener on this side. And then I'm just going to put in streaks of this. And if I have this green on this side of the calla lily, it needs to be on this side too. Putting in this very loosely. Gonna paint these corners with that kind of gray color. Might make another color. I put a little yellow into this and see what happens with that this weird green. Well, that's interesting. It's more like really what a calla lily looks like is this color. So now I'm going to fill in some of that, and if I have that color on this side, I need it on this side. So the calla lily looks like it's in front of this background. I'm just painting it loosely and blending it in. I have a big Arches watermark. Making a little more paint. And I need to get in here. This is kind of drying, but I need to get in there with that little brush and go around the little pieces in here. This is the background. Trying to leave it white, although I think I okay. Now, because this is a white calla lily, well, the background right now, if I add more color to the background right now, what's going to happen is it's going to get all these horrible watermarks. So I just need to leave it alone. And I'm going to go in and start painting the calla lily now. Because the calla lily's white, it's really nice if you have a dark background. So I put in more color, I think it would have been better. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make that orangey stamen color there. So I got to make sure I have all that green out of my brush. The problem with Winsor green is that it's very staining. It goes everywhere. And if you get any of it in any of your other colors, it's really hard to get out. So maybe we won't use that in class. But there's my pure clean yellow. And I'm going to add the tiniest bit of permanent rose to it. And I got a beautiful orange. And I'm going to dot this on because I want to leave white specks. It's covered in pollen. So there's that little piece there. And while I have that yellow out, I'm going to add some of this color to it. Yeah, I got this. This is what this color right in here is, this like light green yellow. So I'm going to put this in here. Oi, oi, I'm making a mess. Let's not go there. And then a little bit yellower up here. Kind of goes up this way. I don't really see that much yellow up here, although I do see reflected light of this right in here. So I'm going to just put a little bit reflected light in here. So in the shadow is this little bit of orange on the white. Okay, I'm going to make a darker green now and do that stem. I don't know if I'm brave enough to do this in class, to use this Winsor green. So the stem goes right out the page. It doesn't make any sense if you have a stem that just kind of stops. So always make your stems go out the page. There's, let's see, the top of this is, the light's coming from my north window over here. So I have a little darker shadow on the right side of this. So I will just run a little bit of shadow down this here. Now I wanted to keep this nice and straight, but it didn't get that straight. It's making a watermark into the background. I'm just gonna try to ignore that. And now I am going to paint with some grays. to just get the shadow of this calla lily. Oh, and right in here is that green too. I'm going to use my tiny little brush and that yellow green, because this right here just goes like this, goes bloop, that comes up, that comes down. And then it goes into its white calla lily. Okay, now I'm going to make some grays, and the gray that I'm going to work with is, because I'm using Windsor green, I'm just going to put in my pink into it and make my gray with that. I think I got a little yellow in there, so it went brown instead of that gray. That here it comes. Here's the gray. Okay, that's the gray that I'm going to use. And what I want to do is look at my calla lily, and so there's gray right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the gray along this edge here, and then I'm going to rinse out my brush, and then I'm going to paint with water. And it goes all the way up to this corner. And then I soften that out with just water. I can dab it too, because I want this to be what we call a disappearing edge. So it starts off kind of dark right at the edge, and then it gets lighter and lighter. Okay, there's also some on both sides of the stamen. So I'm going to start right here. I see my stamen. I'll repaint the stamen because it looks like it went into that reflected light. So I'm keeping this part of the leaf just perfectly white, and then I painted around the stamen. And then let's see, if I twist this part down here is in shadow. So again, I'm going to make a disappearing edge here, this way. I put the color there, and then I start adding water and make that disappear as it goes down. So it looks like a white flower with a little bit of green shadow. I'm gonna soften this out also. Okay, now I have to just figure out where my highlights are. Okay, I think this needs to be, so that here, there's a shadow here. And there's a light shadow here, which I put in already, but this dark shadow goes all the way around. So I'm gonna put that back in, because I have, and then just soften that edge. This little dark shadow goes right up to that corner. And then there's little streaks of it. So I'll just make these little streaks with my brush. And then that right there is white, and then the dark shadow comes in here. I'm going to redo this dark shadow right here. And what I have now is I want this white paper to be white right where the brightest part of the calla lily is. This has a little dark piece that goes here and around, goes here into the corner, here and here. I think I'm capturing the shape of this. What I'm going to do now is go back in and make that bright orange for my stamen. Okay, so I'm going to dot it again, make that brighter with little white specks. Okay, that gets it. There's also some almost brown in there. At the top of that is the brightest part, and then down here is darker. So do I have enough yellows in this bud part? I don't know. I feel like I want just a little more yellow down here. And here. This goes all the way up. This is the dark side in there. There's a little bit of shadow right up this side. I've managed to leave out a beautiful little swirl right here, but I don't think I can really put it in now because of that hard line. So I think what I'll do is I'll just put in a little more yellowy shadow. Oh, that's green. Just make that a little swirlier. No, kind of messing it up now. Okay, so that's basically how we're going to paint this calla lily. And I'm going to do another video on how to draw it. So thank you for staying till the end.